So hello, and first video in a while. This is to show you my progress over essentially 35 years total painting. It's a little misleading because I started painting as a kid. This is my first model ever painted nearly 35 years ago. But it's misleading because I painted these, then didn't paint anything for 15 years. And after 15 years, finally got into Warhammer 40k. This is actually from HeroQuest, people might recognize it. But I'm at like 10. This is my first attempt at really painting. This isn't my very first model, but my HeroQuest box is on the bottom of all the board game, and the expansion was on top, and this was in the expansion boxes, so ooh, that's why I get to see this one. I was proud of it then, because it was before the internet, so I kind of figured out the technique myself. So that was pretty cool. It was the most interesting one. Other ones were just single layer slab. Nothing too special. I'm gonna pause, guys. But next will be when I started painting for Warhammer. And then end up with I love the fluff, and since I was new to Warhammer, I picked a faction that didn't have a whole lot of warrior options. Hence the Necrons and the robots, so that's cool. This is one of the lords. Actually, it's broken, but I used to have a string to have a Resorb hanging right about there. But again, no practice between that last one and this one, just 15 years of life later. Yeah, flash on, yeah. A little better, but just but yeah, so I was kind of proud of them. Also at the same time, building an army. Oh, yeah. The base didn't, basing has been my nemesis. There's sand, painted under that. That was, just cotton. It was supposed to, the point was I was glue cotton down and pull it off and had just little wispy strings coming up to make it look like rising mist. Instead it looks like cloud or kind of cheesy foam. Foam? Snow. My other style was the Destroyer. Now, I still like Necrons, but I don't like what they did to the fluff, where the Destroyers are now this weird cult thing. But the fun thing is, all these guys on their eyes, the little tiny green dot, I actually put glow-in-the-dark paint in there. So you can charge it and it glows for a little bit. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, these were painted at the same time. And this was 20 years ago, so before speed paint or contrast paint, all that fun stuff. So I'm looking at you. Dun. Another the paint techniques, the shine is just the gloss. Whoa, unblur. Focus. Focus. Apparently he's shy. There we go. But yeah. And then, after painting those, I painted my Space Marines, which are in a box over there. Essentially the same style and shape level, shall we say, is these. They got kind of crushed. I paint the inside of my Rhino, so that's kind of fun. And then, about 2 months ago, 9th edition decided to pop back in. Again, no practice in between because that would be weird. Why practice? And get, there we go, this. Now, there's fluorescent paint, color shifting paint. As you see, this is my deceiver proxy, but much more interesting. Of course, this was under the gun to be ready for a tournament. So for basing, I was like, sure, warp reality. It's not white fuzz, it's a black pom-pom that was cut and glued to the base. Kinda cheesy, but it was quick and dirty, and the other thing I think of in like a day. Because I was literally put on the day before the tournament. So, that's that. Not sure if you can see the color shift. Helps if it's on there. My attempt at object source lighting. The light on the fingers there. Power coming from the hand. Because, watch YouTube videos. And moving up. Okay, tilt. There we go. I argued with the paint to try to do the gradients on the horns. Really zoomed up like that, it looks a little. Doesn't look quite as good. One step. So that was fun. And so that's that. And then a couple weeks later, after everyone's saying, "Oh, Necrons are so easy," I still got trounced because they just collapsed on me. So I'm like, you know what? Let's try something completely different. At which point you get this for something completely different. Imperialist. The reason I've got this on there is the color shift paint on the armor pads. Granted, this was 3 weeks to build and paint. Build, paint, and base. And it was kind of a pain because this color shift paint, let me turn that back off, see if you can maybe see it. The color shift paint, you can see it was supposed to be dark blue with a purple shift, because I like that. Ends up looking gold, and you can sometimes see blue. I like blue. But yeah, a nice fluorescent orange eyeballs. Focus. Focus. Alright, whatever. This alone didn't take 3 weeks to paint. I'll probably include some pictures. But there are 4 armatures of that size. And this bad boy. Again, having to paint under there, before putting the helmet on. This is the same paint, but over here you can see a little bit of the blue. Color shift. Yeah, immediately these things will still move. Yeah, pod wobbles because it's just sitting on there. In case you don't want that type of thing on top. But yeah, I had to, because I was running out of time. Not sure if you can see the color shift very well. Yeah. I had originally wanted to paint under here, because I painted these in multiple before they were completely assembled. I wanted to paint under here. Ultra wide lens, what are you talking about? Weird. Okay, turn the light on now? No. It's complaining about some ultra-wide lens. I don't know what it's talking about. Oh, let's do this. You know, but details, I don't know. It won't let me turn the light back on for some reason. But these details back here are kind of mostly just barely hit to pick out a little bit. I mean, there's the blue under there. If I can figure out how the heck to turn on. There we go. Down there is boring. Up in here. I originally wanted to do that. I just didn't have the time. I decided since it's kind of behind everything, nobody sees it, no big deal. So now I can kind of see the blue. I'm pointing at my screen. Now you can kind of see how it's blue. Color shift. So under there's not what I originally wanted to do, but since you can't really see it much, and I did not do the nameplates under there. Because decals have been my nemesis, and my freehanding kind of sucks. I've never really tried it, so I didn't really want to try it on that under a time crunch. Also, in that 3 weeks, I had to help paint orcs. Similar paints, really. Hello, orkies. Painting the orcs. These are kind of how they ended up looking. You can barely see the little bit of sparkle on his goggles. I actually took a little toothpick and some glittery paint to do his goggles. And you can't really see it, but that's okay. You know, I also did a bunch for trucks and stuff, but they're still in the box under other layers, so I'd have to move like 50 some odd boys and stuff out of the way. So this is what I'm showing currently. But yeah, essentially 2,000 points of knights and a whole bunch of trying to update orcs, because last time we played, half the models aren't in the game anymore. So yeah, that's where I've gotten to so far in painting. My goal at this point, you know, going forward, is we don't have a local game store or really a local place to play. We have to drive 45 minutes. So I'd love, there are a couple places that are for sale or rent nearby, and I would love to not have to have a day job, you know, slog, so I can get and have a store and a space to play, like, and make super high quality tables so that people can come play, have tournaments, that sort of thing. However, that requires funding. So sometime after this, I'll see if, you know, I'll take Patreon and stuff, so if anyone would like to help that'd be great. But that'd be the goal. I will, theoretically, if I can convince my computer to work, because I have a whole bunch of other painting stuff to do, especially with Arcs of Omen coming out. Oh, please just fall and not be broken. Where's my hand? There's my hand. Yeah, okay. With Arcs of Omen coming out, things are changing a whole lot. And I did get one of the Ravenwing detachments. Even the thermal cannon has finger. There we go. Fluorescent pink and orange. I'd have to be doing a whole lot of painting and stuff. I'd love to have the space. None of this is airbrushed. I have an airbrush, but I went to use it with this paint and it just clogged up, so I decided I didn't have the time to argue with it. But yeah, I will be hopefully streaming, building, and painting on YouTube. And stuff. And if I get that space, the goal will be to stream from the studio and tables there. We'll be streaming games and tournaments if they're actually there. So, yeah. There is a progression, and I plan to maybe get a little bit more practice in, get better. Maybe do some submissions. Because this pesky paint, that's like 7 or 8 layers just to get it to look like that. The pesky red doesn't like to, even Vallejo paints and stuff thin down. I do one coat, doesn't cover completely. Okay, understand that. But I put the second layer down, and the brush just sucks up the first layer. It does the same thing. So that was, no thin coats on that one. It's like I just kind of glop it on and hopefully it stays in a couple layers, because anytime I try to do a second or third layer, it just kind of came back up. And it was kind of annoying. But it is what it is, and I'm learning as I go. But yeah, that's that. I have one more armature for that army, but that was my Imperial Knights army. I just played in a tournament. Of course, it's always fun. It's like, hey, I'll pick something new and use it for the first time in a tournament setting. That's awesome. But that's because it's the only time I can get to. But yeah, that's the progression. So, I hope to make a whole lot of more stuff and see a whole lot of people. I'm trying to make super high quality. The goal is to make super high quality. This is probably not it. Maybe even eventually. Yeah, and the next time we have the orcs out for playing, which should be sometime soon, I'll get some video of that so you can share those. Maybe a little pseudo bat rep here from the kitchen table, because it's the table I have currently. My studio space is currently a desk with 2 people trying to paint on it, which you'll probably see before too long. But thanks everyone for your time and for looking. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see people on the next one. Bye.